So I'm going to show you how to play Something Terrible by John Smith. The chords in the song are really quite simple, so I'll only go over those quickly. But he uses a percussive technique during his playing, which is something that John Smith uses quite a lot, and it's in fashion at the moment with people like Ben Howard, so I thought I'd show you the basics of it today. This isn't an exact replica of how it goes on the album by any means. It's just a rough idea that I picked up from one of his videos on YouTube. But it's a really good song for practicing kind of experimenting both with chords and open tunings and doing different things with percussive technique. So I'll show you kind of the bare bones of the song, and then you can improvise over the top of it once you've got the hang of it. The tuning for the song is Dad Gad, but dropped down a tone. So it's going to be C, G, C, F, G, C. I had to think about that. So we'll go like this. Okay, so I'll show you the chord pattern that he uses throughout the song. It's really simple. To start with, you're going to put your index finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string and your ring finger on the 4th fret of the bottom string. Then you're going to slide up, keeping your fingers on the same strings, to the 5th fret with your ring finger and the 4th fret with your index finger. The same thing again, then so you're sliding back down to the same place there, then you're just going to move this finger across onto the 4th fret there. There I just flipped my index finger down a string and then back to the same chord you had before. And you can basically just use that same chord progression for the entire song. There's a few extra bits which you can do to make it a little bit more interesting that are really just playing around with the fact that it's an open tuning. So for example, you can just move your finger across. For example, when you play, you can move your finger up to the top string. So you have the exact same pattern really, you're just moving your index finger across the top string, and that'll work as well. There's a nice little variation. You can also, when you're playing up here, you can change over and play it there. Okay, so have a bit of a play around. In each of the different chord positions, and just find nice melodies that fit in, and you can work those in as well. Okay. The last part to teach you, at the end of the song, while he's playing his percussive part as well, there's a little picked melody. Repeats round. The way I tend to play that is, so I'll just play that note and then pull it off, and then just move it down a string, and again pull it off, and then the second time, same thing, moving down to the 2nd fret of the 4th string there. Back to your normal chord pattern. Okay, so I'm going to approach the percussive part of this as if you've never done percussive guitar before. There's lots of different videos on the internet with lots and lots of different techniques. I think the exact technique you use doesn't particularly matter, whatever works for you is fine, but one of the most important points I'd say is that when you're playing this style of guitar, the beat that you're playing becomes almost more important than the chords you're playing and how well you're playing the chords. It doesn't really matter if every now and again you kind of miss strumming or play off from what you would normally play, but if the percussion that you're playing sort of tails off over the song when you stop paying attention to it and it gets weaker and weaker, the song loses momentum. So it's really important, no matter what your left hand's doing and what you're actually strumming, that the percussive part stays nice and strong all the way through to give the song momentum. Okay, so the percussive part to this song is really simple. All we're doing is just playing 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the 1 and the 3 we're going to be playing the heel of the hand somewhere in the body of the guitar where there's lots and lots of echo. Some people like to play right back at the bottom of the guitar. I find that's quite a lot of movement, so I just tend to play just above the bridge there. Okay, and then for the 2 and the 4 I play right at the top of the guitar where there's not a lot of echo and you get more of a sort of snare drum sound. And a lot of people use their fingernails for that as well to get even more of a click. Okay, whatever works for you, but just work on getting a nice consistent sound. Getting comfortable with that. What I'd recommend when you're practicing putting chords in between those is don't worry about playing the whole song yet, just find a chord that sounds reasonable and just work on how you're going to work in your strumming around the drum beat. Okay, so to start off with, just work on the notes where we're going to be playing after our 2 and 4, our snare drum beats, and the way we're going to do that is after you've played, you're just going to pull the hand back across the strings. It'll take a little bit of practice to kind of hit them with the right amount of pressure. To start off with, a lot of people tend to drag back really hard or miss the strings completely if they go too far the other way, so just take a bit of time. The sound you want. Okay, and then obviously you've got downstrokes as well. Okay, try and make sure all the time that you've got a really nice strong drum beat there. You'll find as you practice that drum beat does get a little weaker as you stop paying attention to it and start paying attention to the strings, so just make sure you keep going back and you've got a really nice strong drum beat. Once you've got the hang of that and you feel really comfortable that you're getting a nice consistent sound, then you're going to obviously start changing the chord you're playing on the left hand, but make sure you keep focusing on that right hand and making sure that drum beat stays nice and strong. Okay. So the last section is the part where we start playing some pull-offs and a bit more of a melody with the left hand while keeping the drum beat going. This is a little bit harder just because you're trying to catch just the strings that you're playing the melody with rather than strumming all of the strings, otherwise the melody is going to get lost a little bit within the chord. Okay. The best way to get the hang of it is just to isolate that little part and play it again and again. So just to remind you, you're going to play, so on the 3rd string, 4th fret, then pull off, then on the 4th string, 4th fret, then pull off. Okay, and those fall again on the off beats in between our drum beat. So we're going to have so just get used to playing that round. You don't have to just play that one string, you can play kind of a few strings around it as long as you're not strumming all of the strings. then as a variation to that, you can play that last note down here. So you have